What's going on? All right. Where we left off last time is we're able to get some details about where our mouse is with a controller. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I broke it. Can't make that line out. Oh, that's right, because that's not a child. All right, so we were able to get some details about where our mouse was pointing, which is interesting. There's a couple things I need to do today. Interesting. Okay, so the things I need to do today. I need to, instead of my mouse pointing, I want to use the middle of the screen. I would really like to be able to use that grid map object plus like the cursor or something, some coordinate system, to be able to tell which one of these I'm looking at and make modifications to it. I don't know if I can do that or not. What I'm thinking is if I can replace it, maybe I have another box in my mesh there. And just depending on what that looks like, I can maybe replace it. That would be great. If I could replace it with another tile, that would be amazing. I think right now, I can't do that. So what I'm thinking is if I can say, hey, it hits that point and then it goes to a coordinate and then it rounds to the nearest coordinate and then it takes that coordinate in the grid map, maybe I can replace the material. So it's kind of my goal for today. And then once I do that, I'll have selectable tiles. I want to be able to hover and I want the top of the tile to glow. That's it. I think I'd be happy. And then ultimately it would be nice if I could click down once and it would go to the next one, but that's next. All right, let's see what happens. Oh, I think what I need to do next, I need to, instead of looking at where my mouse is pointing, I need to look at set a mouse position. I want like get center. What are the options here? Scene instance loader. Let's go look up get viewport in the documentation. What we got? Audio listener, interesting. Let's see what else I got. What did I have in there? I did have dot get mouse position. Okay, methods. Okay. So get mouse position. Get camera 3D. I think that's the node. Get render info. Okay. Get screen transform. Interesting. That could be it. I'm not sure what transform 2D is. Get Viewport texture. Interesting. Okay. This is the only vector. The only vector is interesting. See. Turns the transform of the viewport's coordinates to the screen coordinates of the containing window manager. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Maybe it has X and Y. Let's check it. So what is that? It's get screen transform. Let's give it a go. Might as well. Okay. Result dot get screen transform. I don't think that's quite. Oh. Invalid index. Get index. Okay. When I move, it breaks, and it didn't really return much. Huh. Okay. Let's see. Interesting. Okay, so get screen transform. Oh. Let's see. I see what's happening. Okay. Let's try this again. Oh, it broke. Non-existent function. Interesting. Oh, you know what? I know why that is. Because I need, this should be result.collider still. Mouse position equals get screen transform. I think that may do it. It's kind of interesting. So I'm actually checking, I'm doing a raycast at the X and Y location. Did it break? Broke. Valid type. Okay. That's I wish it would keep showing me that error. See what that error is. Okay. If I project ray origin, transform 2D to vector 2. Really? Okay, so vector 2, transform 2D is a 2x3 matrix that has 2 vector 2s. So I think if I just take interesting. So I need a vector. Interesting. Let's see what a vector 2 is. Sure. Represent 2D coordinates. This is a 2 element structure. It's just an X and a Y in float. This is, it can represent transformations such as translation, rotation, and scaling. It consists of X, Y, and the origin. I just want X and Y. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, well, let's just take the first one. Let's just take X and see what it's giving me. Very interesting. All right, let's see. Camera 3D. I want mouse pause. Is that how I do? Probably. Okay. Okay, so that's screen transform. Is it like how I move it? So obviously the screen transform has nothing to do with this as much as I thought it would. Okay, but I'm just looking at X to remember. Okay, let's just look at the second one. I guess look at 0. Oh, I guess Y is in the... Okay, wait. Y is in the wrong direction, okay? Interesting, all right. What's the third thing here? The third thing is the origin. Okay, maybe that's... Maybe. I'm not really sure what that means. Let's check. It's hitting camera body 3D, which I think is this. Huh, okay. Yep, it's nothing. I don't think moving this window. I'm not sure I understand that function because I can transform it. The transform of the camera, that's probably transform of the camera. Oh, but the camera stays at 0, 0. Interesting. Okay, so I'm actually looking, get screen transform, get viewport. It's going pretty good. So I'm trying to, as you can see from the goal here, I'm trying to get a 4x4 grid with selectable tiles. So I'm messing around with raycasting here. And what I'm trying to do here is essentially in the middle of the screen, I want to be able to kind of return whatever values there. I kind of broke something. I'm not sure what. Interesting. Oh, I'm just stuck between boxes, I think. Well, I broke my game. Ultimately, yeah, I'm trying to get something in the middle of the screen, and for some reason, it's harder than I thought it'd be. I can do mouse position, but I'm having a controller, right? And I'd really like to be able to control it with the controller and rather use the middle of the screen. The goal is to get a 4x4 square that I could kind of scroll through with the arrow keys or a directional pad. And the cell would highlight based on that. But in order to do that, what I think I need is for the center of the screen to give me either coordinates, because I know where the grids are, right? And the grids are going to stay on a grid at all times, so coordinates would work well. I need either the center of the screen, or I could force the mouse to the center of the screen maybe. But it'd be a lot cleaner if I just had to report the center of the screen, but haven't quite found the function to do that, right? I do have get mouse position, which is fine. I would much rather have a, rather than a mouse position, I'd rather have a middle of the screen position. I tried a couple things here. I tried, go back up to the methods up here. Tried the transform value. Tried a couple other things. This is kind of what I'm going through now though. Final transform. Could be something like that. What is this? Returns the transform of the viewpoint's coordinate system. The embedders. Interesting. The only thing that I'm a little worried that viewport's not going to give me is my camera is on a spring arm. If my camera's on a spring arm, then what I'm actually moving, like the actual transform information, is in the spring arm, not in the camera. So I'm a little worried that I might not get that data. So we'll see though. We'll see. I can try get final transform really quick. I'm brand new to Godot, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, nothing here. So I bet though if I went like 1. Oh, this is, yeah, this is the camera. Let's see, and then I go back to here. Does it? Without it re-rendering, I don't think it's gonna do much here. I'll try that though, just to see if my suspicion's correct. Oh yeah, getting GitHub, good stuff. What are you? What kind of games are you thinking about making? Isometric CRPG, very cool. Yeah, I'm looking for like kind of like a tactical RPG here, also isometric. So, hey, maybe we're gonna be in the same boat. Maybe here in a couple weeks when you get GitHub down, you'll be trying to figure out how to select tiles on your isometric map. And I'll be happy to share any of this with you. So maybe we can figure it out together. I hope so too. Are you planning on using Godot, or what's your planned engine? Yeah, Godot. It's pretty good so far, honestly. It hasn't been too difficult to get into it. The tutorials are pretty good, and there's a lot of information online. Hasn't been too bad. There are some things that I think are kind of interesting. A little harder maybe than maybe they should be, but I think that's probably just my lack of experience. But yeah, that's really cool. So this is my first game. Trying to make a tactical RPG and trying to throw some kind of thinking like Diablo-esque equipment generation. Yeah, understand. I'm still way early on. All I've done so far is I built like a background world built a grid map with some tiles where I can drag tiles on the screen. And I put this little guy here so that I could make sure all my collisions worked. That's it. A long way to go. It is fun though. And the community's kind of good. I had someone pop in yesterday and kind of talk me through a lot of stuff, and it was super helpful. So no, this isn't for a select screen. Really what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to draw a grid map. So like essentially I've got these tiles, right? I can draw them, right? I'm gonna make it really easy to make maps. But what I want to be able to do is after I have them, I want to be able to like navigate through them, right? Because in order to have an isometric game, if you've ever played like Final Fantasy Tactics, how the control is in that game, where you can kind of walk through tiles, that's what I want to do. I've seen other people do it with like a mouse, right? And that works okay. But what I'd really like to do is kind of snap it to these like this. Like if I have a controller in my hand, right? If I'm hitting over, I want it to snap to the middle, and I want it to select that. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Streamers are really good in this program, I think. So far, big fan of the community. I don't know why. Oh, I guess I gotta reload. I think this is out of date. I was gonna say I don't know why it didn't show up this square, but that square doesn't exist. There you go. Just need to save. Yeah, so this seems like it should be super simple to do, and it probably is super simple to do. I'm just brand new to this, so I'm struggling along. I do have an example. I'll save this and show you. I do have an example of somebody doing something similar. Again, they used more of like the mouse position, not as much like cycling through controller. And this is probably the next step, is to go look at their example. But they've got, here, I'll show you what this looks like. They've got this, right? And I can navigate through, and it snaps when it gets to the next area, right? This isn't bad. This is good. The way they did it, the reason I can't just like copy this over is the way they did it is they actually drew all this in Blender, and then they like extracted the top layer to create all these tiles. And map creation would be a nightmare if you tried to expand and scale what they did here. So that's the hard part. Honestly, I can probably go look at their code right now for actually their raycast, and I probably will now that we're here, because honestly this is exactly what I'm trying to do right now. But ultimately I don't like how they did the maps, and I've got to use completely different objects. Grid maps are not the same as tiles. Like if you look at their arena, right, which is their tile, you can see they've got like individual meshes for all their tiles. They drew all these in Blender, as opposed to having like a grid map where everything's on a coordinate system and you can go draw maps live. Like I couldn't go change their map live, but I can change mine live. So there are some differences, but while we're here, I should probably look at how they're getting their raycast, because that's probably exactly what I need. For sure. Yeah, honestly, a lot of this I probably could take the code directly, but I'm also trying to learn. Let's see. So they're getting Git Collider, which I'm doing. So in Ray, okay. Neighbors. Not sure what that is. Okay. So let's see. This is the camera. Are they taking I don't think they're taking the raycast from the camera. They're taking it. I don't think the tile. Yeah. Their assets is just a series of tiles. They have like a 3D node here, and then all of these are their own mesh. And the way they generated this, they created this mesh in Blender, right? They drew their entire map out in Blender, and then they imported it. Well, I guess first they chopped it into pieces in Blender, created a top layer, so they have two objects, and then imported it into here, so they actually have two different objects. Like if I go back to the level here, I guess I can look at the arena. I just gotta minimize this so we can see. Okay, like I can hide the arena, right? Or I guess I can show you. So they've got two big objects here. They have this one, and then they've got, oh man, or why that won't go up. There we go. And I got this one. So you see how it's like the top, which is interesting. Oh man, also broke my Godot. But anyway, so yeah, they've got like, oops. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing here, but it's interesting. So I think it would have been good for maybe like what they were doing. Not as good for what I want to do. And then it looked like they were doing something weird with their raycast. It didn't look like it was coming from their camera, which I think is interesting, but it could be that I just don't understand. I think it's worth looking at again. Let's see what they got going on. I think I'm gonna look at each of these. Probably not an enemy controller, maybe level. Probably not that. Okay. Let's see, from camera, okay. Point origin 2 equals from plus camera. Okay, so they're like creating a ray out from the camera. Physics ray query parameters dot create. World 3D direct space intersect ray collider. I get all this. Let's get it mouse. Oh, that's the mouse over object, but I don't want the mouse over object. Unless they're just like hiding the mouse, which they very well could. Let me see if I can actually see the mouse on here. I can, but I can also, when I start moving here, I built the tutorials. Other than the tutorials, no. I did the 2D tutorial and part of the 3D tutorial, which is very similar. I do have a coding background a little bit, so I'm not like brand new to coding, but I'm brand new pretty much to any sort of game development. But yeah, that's interesting. So what they're doing is they've got kind of two modes, and we switch modes from like mouse mode to controller mode. I got you. Yeah, that's big. Have you done? So you haven't done like any coding or anything? It's all new learning. I think that's cool. I imagine it's challenging and it's probably intimidating at first, but honestly, I think stick with it and you'll get there. I think whenever I first started coding, I was probably like 12, and it was for video game purposes. I was playing the game called Ultima Online, and I started doing scripting, and yeah, it was absolutely overwhelming. Yeah, I gotcha. Hey, one thing that helps, I'm not sure if you use it a lot, but honestly, I think the best thing you can do is like Stack Overflow and stuff. It helps, right? Googling issues. ChatGPT is a lifesaver, even in the professional world. I develop avionics for rockets, and regularly we use ChatGPT. It's just a lot faster than going and asking forums. So your Git issues, if you go type out, hey, I'm having these problems, just talk to Git talk to ChatGPT like you would a human. Super helpful, honestly. I think that's the best use of AI is just asking questions and getting answers in human English. Super helpful. So, and best of luck. Yeah. I know it can be intimidating, but I got confidence in you. Grab focus. I wonder if it's something like this. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, so that's saying if HBox. Hey, and thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. All right. I'm kind of thinking, so set visibility of actions menu. Might have something to do with that. Let's see. If is joystick. Layout Xbox, which is this, which is that overlay. Else layout PC, okay. So I think I'm in the controller, which is this. HBox, VBox controller. Yeah, this is where I'm at. This is what's going on. Okay, so that's the texture. Get node actions, which is this. Okay, that's setting the UI. If HBox actions equals. Okay. All right, this does set this though. So I think I'm using a variable called isJoystick, which is setting that, which is probably also sets, it essentially makes the mouse disappear, which is what I want. I like that. Let's see. It would be in the move camera, so if not joystick. Okay. If joystick. Okay. I think I'm close. Okay, so if joystick, which it determined earlier. Velocity is the square root of HHVV, which I set up here. Where do I set H and V? Interesting, very interesting. I don't actually see where. Okay, so somewhere in here, maybe I can find joystick. Doesn't work like that. Price search. Find joystick. Need to find where it gets set, and essentially, okay, so let's see. Input set mouse mode is joystick. Okay, you know what? This might be it. Okay. Is joystick equals is joystick. Let's see. I'm guessing mouse mode is joystick might move the mouse to the center. Where is this player controller? So there should be an input. Is this input? This is a class. No, it is not. I might try that. Is input event joypad button or event input? So essentially, I set is joystick by this. So essentially, it goes yes if there's an event on the joystick, and then UI control dot is joystick equals that, and it's setting my mouse mode to either true or false based on is joystick, which makes sense. So let's just try that. Let's try filling their code here. I'd be fine because I can should be able to move it around pretty easily. I think I could set where it goes to the middle of a thing. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is if I set the input as a joystick, what I'm hoping is it says, okay, you set your input as a joystick. Now I'm gonna make the mouse disappear. So I have this control. Let's see. I think that's it. Yeah. Which is this. Let me add this to the main. Okay. So essentially in this script, okay, it doesn't like that. What doesn't it like? Oh, it's not declared because I haven't. Okay, so is joystick. Probably just have to define it. Okay. UI control, which I don't actually have. I think I could say. Let's get rid of that for a second. I think I don't really need that. I do want to pass it in, so I will need it. But let's see if that sets my mouse mode when I hit my joystick, when I hit my controller. Oh, I didn't like that. Oh, get used cells. That's because I have extra leftover code in there. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Give this a go. Let's see. Expected init block after function declaration. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so I have a function declaration. Doesn't like function process. Expected. Is there a space here? No. That's interesting. What doesn't it like about here? So this is I think a prime example where, right, whenever we have these issues, let me pull this up here. Show you what we can do here. All right, so let's see. I have this code. The A will take the actions of either one. What I want it to do is when it detects that it's getting an input from the joystick, I want it to turn the mouse off, essentially make the mouse disappear. Let's see. So if I say on that code, on the function process line, it's telling me expected indented block after function declaration. Seems like process function is not properly indented. It should have a block of code following its declaration. Here's how you can correct it. Interesting. Let's see. Which I think what I thought the problem was, unless there's like some extra spaces. That's interesting. Get rid of pass here. Pass just passes. Have it do it often. I did copy it in here, so it's possible that something is. All right, let's do this. So it still doesn't like it. I wonder what's going on there. That's interesting. I think for now, what I can, let me see if it's just input. No. Interesting. Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird bug. I think I can do it in Ready though. I mean, I would rather do it in that. Oh, okay, I see what's going on. Here. There we go. Okay. So it's actually telling me the lineup here on 7 didn't have any code after it, so this was like a subset of this. If I was a better programmer, I wouldn't have those problems. Let's see what we got. Okay, so hey. I think that's working. Okay, so let's see. So I am getting the middle of the screen. So yep. So you see what's going on there? So I've got my mouse, right? And I can control it and I can point at things. Well, it's still grabbing the middle of the screen, which is not what was going on earlier. So I gotta check what that's going on. But you can see, hey, whenever I start using my controller, here, I guess you can't see. If I start using my controller, the mouse disappears, which is good. That's what we wanted. But if you look down here, so right now it's looking at like nothing. But somehow when I'm passing through, it's detecting these grid maps, which is what I wanted. I did want to detect the grid maps. Not doing it quite consistently. So I don't actually know what translation it's looking at. Actually, no. So let me look at the code for that. What am I actually looking at? Let's close that. Let's see. So it's using get final transform. I don't know what this means. Obviously it's working in some way. I mean, I can move the screen and get the grid maps, which is exactly what I wanted. I guess I need this minimized so I can see. So it's pretty much what I wanted, except I'm stuck. Got soft locked. Pretty much what I wanted, except I don't actually know where it's referencing. So maybe if I go this way. But I think now actually I can do mouse pointer now that it goes to the middle. And then I think you'd be able to use the mouse or, yeah, I don't know what final translation means. It's obviously not working now. It's very inconsistent. Either way though. So now I should be able to use get mouse position, I think it is. Get mouse position. And then if I do this, all right, got two things, right? See the grid map there when I'm, let's see, either when I'm on a character, it's on the character. When I'm on the grid map, it's on the grid map. If I start moving, character, grid map. I don't know if it's centered. It'll be a little bit hard to tell. It might be wherever the mouse is. It might be centered. Let's see, so right there. Three 7 4 9 7. So it's 3 7 3 4 6 7 3 4 6. So yeah, it doesn't put the mouse at the center. What I also need to do is move the mouse and cursor to the origin. That's the part I'm missing. And so again, I can ask ChatGPT, say, Hey, Godot, what code would I use to move the mouse cursor back to the middle? Warp mouse position. Look at that. See all that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking the next step is. That's a good point. So I think, yeah, I think you're right. I think, and I've got this indicator down here. I think I could just print out just the XY values instead of these grid maps, and that'll make it way easier. So yeah, before I do all this, let's do that, because that's a good next step. Okay, so let's just ask ChatGPT again, because this is what we do. If I have a raycast and it's returning the collider object, how do I return the XY coordinates instead? Global position, collider.global position. That looks pretty promising. So I got the collider. I think all I have to do is put dot global position. Try that. Collider dot global position. All right. It might get mad at me here. No, look at that. So I'm guessing, okay, so. Oh, interesting. It's not, oh man. This highlights the problem with my solution. Okay, so this is returning the position of this whole grid map. The problem is the grid map is centered at 0, 0, right? Like if I go to the grid map over here and look at the position of the grid map, it's 0, 0. That's what's returning. It will not return the the value where it actually is, which means I may have to go turn it into tiles, which I don't want to do. I do not want to have to turn this into tiles. I would much rather it just be grid maps. Dang, okay. But this works well. That was a great idea. Appreciate it. That's way easier to read. Okay, but yeah, I can also check. Interesting that it's returning some other. Oh. I wonder what is it? What's down here? I have no idea what it's returning. Huh. It could be the camera, like the. So I have a camera object and a spring arm, and it's actually like it's an actually collidable object, right? And the reason why it's collidable is if I want to go walk into something, I need to be able to stop and not hit it, right? Probably not as important for a tactics game at all. I was just